All righty. Yeah, I'm good to go.
All right, everybody, we got DeMeco here. Ready when you are. Start with Branch. Go ahead, Branch.
Hey, DeMeco, I just wanted to ask you, after a few games earlier in the season that didn't go so well, I know Kyle was asked, like, hey, what do you think of the job DeMeco's doing? Kind of like maybe you were in over your head, and now this week he's being asked about you maybe being a head coach. I just wonder if you found it amusing, just kind of the way the discussion around you has fluctuated somewhat wildly this season, and now you're, I guess, a really good rookie defensive coordinator.
Now, really, at the end of the day, I don't pay much attention to it. Really, it really doesn't matter to me. It's just about the guys in this locker room and what do we put together game plan wise. How are our guys going out and executing, and what do they think? That's the most important thing to me. It comes to job and who thinks is good, who doesn't. It doesn't matter. It's about our guys in this building.
DeMeco, you guys have had, to the naked eye, some issues there at the cornerback position, but yet you guys rank so highly in pass defense and total defense. What is the key when you go up against a high-powered offense that has big play threats at basically every position? What do you kind of stress to the guys in a generic term?
Yeah, I mean, no matter who we're playing, I know Dallas, they have a lot of playmakers, every position. They're loaded with talent all across the board. From the offensive line out to the receivers, quarterback, everybody. They have talented players. But for us, it's not about who we're playing, it's just about us and our technique, our fundamentals, owning those things and doing them to the best of our ability, playing as fast as we can possibly play, as hard as we can possibly play. And it that takes care of itself, who you're going against, by you just owning your prep, owning your technique, and doing what you're supposed to do and doing it collectively as a group. So it's not one man out there by himself. So that's how we approach it there.
How do you approach Dak Prescott?
Dak is at an exceptional year, man. It's awesome to see, him come back from injury. It's been very impressive for what he's done and the severity of the injury he's had. So, nothing but high praise for Dak and how he's operating the offense. I think, he's surrounded by talent, but he does a good job, putting the ball on the money. He's a very accurate quarterback, smart guy, knows where to go with the ball. He's going to be a very, very tough challenge for us. So, we're excited about going against him, but we know at the same time it's going to be a big task for us.
DeMeco, over the last half of the season or so, your run defense has been as good as any in the league. I know there were some bumps maybe very early in the season in that regard. How are they able to get it going, particularly in that area?
I think our run defense improved, drastically because of the unselfish play by Eric Armstead. I think moving people kind of forget we lost our starter in Kinlaw early in the year, and we were trying to figure that out inside. Whether you want to play good run defense, you got to have two really good interior defensive linemen, and Eric unselfishly moving inside, and DJ Jones he's been outstanding all year. He has had a dominant year, a career year inside, and he's been consistent all year. That's why our run defense has been good. Defense has been better because of Eric and his play. Eric continued to get better and better inside as the year went on, and DJ has been as consistent as ever this year.
You guys haven't really blitzed this much this season. I think fourth least in the NFL. Was that the plan going in, or did that evolve based on the way things were going? And is that kind of your style, to maybe not blitz and play some zone behind that?
I think, well, for me, my style is it's all about not about what I want to do, but it's about what can you get players to do and who are the players that you have and what can you do and what does each week call for. So each week for me it changes based on who we're playing and what do we need to do to win that game. So people talk about blitzing. Blitzing isn't always the answer all the time. Just because you have the most blitzes doesn't mean you're the best defense. So it's all about, what do you need? What is it going to take to win that particular game? And it's not about how many times you blitz or don't blitz. It's about your defense playing together.
DeMeco, after the recent firings in the NFL, Mike Tomlin is the only African-American head coach left in the league. As an African-American coach, do you find that upsetting? Is it discouraging to you?
And I think, for one, the guy you mentioned is Mike Tomlin. You just think about, he's definitely a guy I look up to as a coach. You talk about just the consistency that he's had over the years, not to have a losing season. I mean, always in the playoffs. So he's definitely a coach that I look up to and I want to mimic. Able to be in that position, I want to mimic a coach like Mike Tomlin with the success that he's had. So I think as this new cycle comes around, I think multiple guys will get opportunities, and we'll hope to see some change there and see many other African-American coaches get that gig, get the head coaching job, and be in a position to lead these young men.
DeMeco, why do you think you've been able to maximize Arden Key's talent in a way that hasn't happened before for him, and how much of a role has Chris Kasurek played in that?
Yeah, I think Chris Kasurek, he's definitely played a key role in just the entire D-line and how those guys have gelled together, how we've found that special mix of guys. And I think Arden he's put in the work to continue to get better and better as the year went on. And I think we've found that niche, putting him inside. He's been very effective inside. He's probably one of our most effective guys rushing when it comes to rushing inside. So I'm very happy with Arden and what he's able to do. You saw that in watching him as a free agent. You saw what he could do, inside as a rusher. And I think just with the group collectively, how they rush together, I think that's allowed Arden to garner some success because of the other guys that he has around him. Not so much of what he's doing, but just all those guys working together has allowed Arden to have a great year rushing inside. Bosa, his best year outside. Sampson, his best year. So it's not only Arden, but all those guys together have done an awesome job.
Yeah, DeMeco, were you pleasantly surprised with what you got out of Greenlaw and Emmanuel Mosley after the time they missed? And is it fair to say that you guys are as healthy and deep as you've been all year?
Yeah, not surprised by Greenlaw or E-Man. I know what those guys bring. I know how they've played in the past for us. So I knew, the ability they had and the type of plays they would be able to make for us. So not surprised with what they're able to do. Is very for me, it was encouraging and excited just to see Greenlaw back out there from all the time that he's missed, and to see him come back and wreak havoc in that game on Sunday. It was awesome to watch. But it's just a credit to those guys, man, the work that they continue to put in. Battling injuries are tough. It's hard mentally to come back from those things. We know the physical aspect of it, but I always just applaud those guys just for overcoming that mental hurdle of the injury and still being able to go out and perform the way they perform. It's just it's a beauty to see.
These last three for Coach?
Miko, I know a lot of stuff has gone into your turnaround in the second half of the season, but from an emotional level, was there anything to the Cardinals' loss at home? I know a lot of guys said that was not up to their standard, and it was just embarrassing. Do you think that played any kind of role in the turnaround, maybe hitting a low like that?
I think the Cardinals game, it wasn't our best outing, one we're not proud of, but I don't see it as a turning point or a moment that changed our season. It was a bad outing. We had a lot of guys out for that game. We didn't play good fundamental football, and when you don't play sound fundamentals, you're going to get beat. So that's one thing we pride ourselves on, is doing it the right way, playing sound and being on our fundamentals. You come back to that game, we didn't tackle well. We weren't on our keys, what we were supposed to do, and we got beat, and that's what it came down to.
Mika, what's it like to be Kyle Shanahan's DC? I mean, I know you've known him, you've been on the staff, but to be his DC, and Kyle says himself he can be pretty challenging sometimes. What's it like to be in the room, to be on the sideline for the first year as a DC for Kyle Shanahan?
Kyle has been great, man. He's been very helpful throughout my first year as a coordinator. Kyle has been very helpful when it comes to ideas or scheme. What does he see from us? What are we doing? Things that we should probably look into a little bit more of changing. All those things. When you're talking about having one of the best offensive minds in the history of the game, to have him on my side, I see it as an advantage. So it's been very, very pleasing to work with Kyle. He's been great. He's fun to work with, and I wouldn't want to work with anyone else, man. He's an awesome head coach, and love the work that he's done here.
Do the last one with Cam.
DeMeco, can you talk about what Nick Bosa's mindset looks like this week as he gets back to the playoffs for the first time since the Super Bowl, and how much can you put on his shoulders? As much as obviously you'd want to have the whole defense playing well, but how much can you put on Nick's shoulders for this?
Yeah, Nick just has to be Nick. Nick doesn't have to press or do anything more. Like I spoke of earlier, it's about all those guys, everybody collectively playing together well around Nick, and Nick playing well. Nick just has to come out and give us his best, like he's done every week, and he just does that. Nick being Nick is going to be enough for us, and I think he'll have a good game for us.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Is anyone else here?
I'm here. Oh,
There he is.
there I am. Hey, Mike, has the word reached you about the job interview, potential job interview? Has anything been set up? And just what's your approach, juggling at this time of year, being an offensive coordinator for a playoff team, and in the back of your mind, also knowing that you could have a head coaching opportunity down the road?
Yeah, it has. But as far as juggling, there is no juggling. It's about the Dallas Cowboys and the 49ers offense going down there and performing, and the 49ers team doing whatever it takes to try and get a W against a very good football team. And that's it.
Hey, Mike, Jimmy in 2019 had game-winning drives and such, but it seems like maybe he's taking that to another level this year. Just his play in the clutch, and sometimes it hasn't worked out against like Seattle or Tennessee, but he still had some pretty memorable moments. What is it? What is it about him that seems to get even better when I guess the stakes are the highest?
I think he's exhibiting even more ownership of the offense, and I think he's really flexing his mental ability to have his vision forward and take any obstacle as a challenge. And really, we're seeing the best football Jimmy has played. It's been, his teammates can feel it. I think you guys feel it. I think the fans feel it, and that's to his credit. Just reps in the system and cutting it loose, and his teammates playing well around him.
Mike, as far as Juwan Jennings, it seems like he's, obviously we talked about him being in that Kendrick Bourne role. Is that something where those guys, because there's so much attention on third down on your other guys who are, probably more notable, that those guys get favorable matchups, more of the time? And what is it? Is there an intangible quality to guys on third down to be able to show up in those spots?
Yeah, it's interesting. They both have similar boisterous, same guy day in day out type personalities. But as far as the play, it's when a lot of your reps come on third down. Third down's where the most man is, so you better be able to separate and have some route running skills. As far as who they go against the same people that everyone else does. We motion and formation things in multiple ways, and we don't really have one-trick ponies in the sense that you have to be able to operate in the slot and you have to be able to operate outside. So he's been doing an outstanding job as he's gained opportunities, and much in the way that we relied on Kendrick Bourne. We've come accustomed to relying on him as well.
Hey, Mike, what strikes you about Micah Parsons when you're watching him?
What doesn't strike me, Micah Parsons is, it's the first time I've got to study him. I'm alive, so I've heard about him, and he's been noisy this year. Is very, very impressive. I think it's a great match. Working with Dan Quinn and they're getting a ton out of him. He's a multi-tool defender that can win on the line of scrimmage and can track from the linebacker position. He gives people problems, and I can see why I knew his name before I had studied him and seen him play.
Hey, Mike, you guys always talk about, everybody talks about the league being a copycat league, especially when it comes to schematic things. But from a personnel standpoint, when a guy like Deebo has the season that he did and does things the way he did them, do you think that's going to become something that other teams are looking for, or is that just so hard to replicate, finding a guy who is as versatile as he is?
No, I think anytime people kind of approach some uncharted territory, it kind of opens people's minds. But if you've watched any of the draft coverage the last couple of years, people have been trying to find the next Deebo. Problem is there's one Deebo, and maybe that opportunity will open it up for other guys with his skill sets. But he's a rare player that for him to be able to contribute in the way he does, I mean, shoot, it's taken time for us to adjust, just because you're going step by step, and with a player learning your offense, you want him to master stuff before you move on. And we've learned this year that, hey, this guy can handle more things within our system, and we can find different ways to get him the ball because he's truly special at doing so. You all right? Yeah. Just checking on my guy.
Everything okay?
We're good.
No. You need
Good to hear.
CPR?
We're good.
No? We're good.
All right, awesome. From the Cowboys defensive personnel, they have at least three pretty accomplished, capable pass rushers, and they have looks like an elite cornerback. Are they in some ways reminiscent of the Rams, just from who they put in the field?
Yeah, I mean they've got really good players, and they play hard. It's a testament to their coaching staff and those individuals on the field, and it's similar. Their defensive structures are much different, but it's similar in that if you're not on your P's and Q's, they can embarrass you, and that's a fact that they've had tremendous success and really given offenses this season fits, because you cannot take a down off. You can't be off on your sets. They are screaming off the ball. You have to be prepared for them down in, down out. Otherwise, you don't give yourself a chance to win the game. So, in terms of being very skilled, having a very good pass rush, it is similar. Schematically, it is a juxtaposition. It's a little different.
Hey, Mike, I just want to circle back to something you just mentioned about Deebo, that it's kind of an ongoing process for you guys in figuring out how to use him. How much does that kind of open up your imagination and challenge you, having a guy like that, in terms of, we can look at it and say, well, you've thrown it with him, you've thrown it to him, you hand it to him, you've done all these things, but how much are you still kind of in the lab always trying to cook up new things with him?
Well, yeah, it's a competitive challenge. It's a wonderful opportunity. It's something that you really dream of as a coach, in terms of being able to utilize people in different ways to try to find advantageous looks for the offense in general. I would say that we challenge ourselves to open our mind and really see how we can do our best to stress a defense out, but don't get it twisted. It's a good stress, something that you're challenging yourself with, because all he does is alleviate stress on game days for his teammates and coaches alike. It's a lot easier to figure stuff out on Monday and Tuesday with the problem that you're trying to solve is, how do I get this guy the ball? And on game day, hey, Deebo, here's the ball. That's the best thing for a coach that you could possibly imagine.
Last one.
Yeah, just to kind of continue that Deebo talk. I mean, obviously we've seen him catch the ball, run the ball, even throw the ball now. Year by year, how has he impressed you the most? And have you ever been around an all-around football player quite like Deebo?
He impresses me because he's a guy that has an unbelievable will to get better. He's such a cool personality that he never seems stressed, and it's kind of a misrepresentation of how diligent he is in terms of progressing in his craft. I think he'll be done worried about getting better when he starts getting some 50 to 55-yard punts off, because then his game is complete. But otherwise, he is working day in, day out to put his best foot forward and take advantage of the opportunity. He's a wise 25, soon to be 26-year-old on Saturday, and he's getting better and better as we progress, and as a result, the 49ers are getting better as well.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, guys. Thank you.